Hi. Oh, I have to make this disappear. Okay, hi everybody. Welcome to MOONCAST. Why suddenly the angle of the camera is kind of bad today? All right, that's it. Say so. How are you? Hi. Let me check this first. Okay, the audio works. Nice. Okay, great. The music is still playing. I'm sorry. It is. All right. Hi. Again, I just woke up about an hour ago, and what I want to talk about today. First, the the main topic. EJ might join the stream today if he can. The main topic today is I'll talk about anime, and then class consciousness, and then the mass shootings, and then the development in the Imperial Core right now. Why is the situation right there is really is what's been going on in the USA. So this morning I woke up reading the news coming from the National Defense official page of Vietnam, and they had an article talking about it's just during the weekend there were 300 mass shootings happened in the USA with 125 people died and more than 300 people got injured because of that. So Vietnamese right now we are talking a lot about mass shooting in the USA. And lots of us are asking questions and trying to understand why is it like that. So you didn't miss the Mooncast intro because I am traveling and I'm not. That intro is in the main computer at our house in Da Nang and we're not home, so I cannot play that intro. Sorry. But first, in order to warm up, let's talk about anime. I have been a big anime fan since I was the first time I read an anime. I think I was like 4 or 5 years old before I could even read. Before I learned how to read. So at that time, I would like beg other people to read that anime for me. So I've been a big anime fan for at least 27 years of my life. Huge anime fan. All right. So read an anime. Come on. You know what I meant. Sometimes there's lines and you need to read those lines. Okay. Hi, everybody. Hi, Luna. Goodbye from Brazil. Hi. Lost Starling. 3,100. Okay. So this is Inuyasha. One of the stickers that I bought when I was in high school, I think. So this sticker is at least 15 years old already. Inuyasha, I'm a big fan of this. So, and at that time, I mostly watched on TV. On TV, I mostly watched Japanese. I think Doraemon on TV sometimes. Not really many anime at that time because it was in the 90s and Vietnam was under US sanctions. So mostly we did not have something like that. We had Russian, the USSR kind of cartoon about, a wolf and a rabbit. The wolf always trying to chase the rabbit and the rabbit always win the wolf against the wolf, something like that. We had some Chinese cartoons and that's it. Most of the anime that I read was Japanese and it was in bookstore, and this is how it works. Kids at that time, we were so poor, so of course we could not afford an actual like anime, something like that, an episode. We could not afford it. It's too expensive. It was too expensive to us. So the way it worked out in Vietnam was like that. Usually in a village and in a town. In village we had no place like that. But so I had to travel to the town about 2 or 3 miles away. I went to a bookstore where they don't sell books; they rent books. And at that store, they ran a bunch of like thousands of episodes of anime, and then I just rented some anime and brought it back home, and then a few days after that, brought them back and ran a new episode, something like that, and it was it. And I was a big fan of Inuyasha. I still love it to this day. I read the comic books and I also watched the anime, the actual anime several times already. I mostly remember every single detail of it. This is how I look inside. Ooh, 15 years old. The the glue doesn't even work anymore. This is it. I bought those stickers, but I love them so much that I barely use them. I just keep them here. The glue doesn't even work anymore. This is Sesamaru. um, and most of the wow, lots and lots of stickers here. This is mostly full of it. Sesamaru, Kikyo. Oh my gosh, Kagome. Oh, so old. It's so old. And it is my memory box. Now I open this. This is a box I used to. My brother at that time bought an MP3, the disc player, and it's Sony, and he took that player out, and I took the box and I turned it into my anime memory childhood box. Now let's open this. I haven't opened this in years. um, I don't know. You see that I said you are in my. I guess it's a heart and mind. I don't know. I made this box in 2006, 2007, so I don't even remember exactly. Oh no, not even that. I made it in 2004 and 5 or something like that. Yeah, in my secondary school, 2004 and 5. So 18, 19 years ago. You are in my heart and mind. H&M heart and mind, I think. I was pretty good at English back then, huh? I didn't know that. I didn't really. Okay, open this. Ahem. Ahem. So, ah, I remember every single thing inside this. So this is it's so at that time my brother went out. He studied in university in Da Nang, the city I'm living in right now, and it was about 500 kilometers away from our home. And this is Christmas. I think the first Christmas that he was out of the house, and he sent me this a Christmas card. So cute. He didn't even say anything in this. He's just I mean, that's my older brother. He didn't write anything. There's no message. It's just this. But I love it. I still give it to this day. Oh man, you know that I am a big Harry Potter hat. So this is I took it from out of I think a magazine. Hermione and Ron and Harry Potter. Yep. Oh, what year is this? This is the Harry Potter and the Azkaban prisoner. Yeah, yeah. Um. Oh, This is interesting. So these are my drawings. You see, the paper is so old. I drew this when I was in middle school. I think this is. Can you guess what is this? You in the chat? Can you guess, please? Can you guess from what kind of anime is this? And this too. I could only keep the two drawings from my middle school. The paper is so old. Oh. Queen of the Nile. Yes, it is Queen of the Nile. And this. Sakura the card holder. Yes. And this is my drawing in, I think, in high school. I mean, I drew a lot, and at that time I did a big mistake. I made a big the card captor. Yeah. I after I drew, I used some tape to tape them up. I thought that that could protect the drawing, but actually no, it actually destroyed all my drawing. Hey, yeah, Luna, what do you do? Oh my god, so this is stick to the paper. I can't even take it out now. All right, I try. All right, it's out. So this is my drawing in high school. This is mostly like my style of drawing, not exactly what from what kind of anime, but this is definitely got influenced by the Queen of Nine, of course. And this, I think this is kind of Indian, kind of influenced Indian style. I don't even know. This is yeah. Um, this is like European kind of style. I love drawing girls, so mostly just girls. This is this is you see, I didn't use tape here, and the drawing was fine. This is mermaid, little mermaid. Yeah, my art is heavily affected by Japanese kind of anime style. This is coming from a sticker that I saw. I don't know what kind of anime is from. Maybe you can know. I don't know. I bought a beautiful sticker and I just drew this out of that sticker. That's it. This is Little Witch. I don't know what kind of anime though. Mermaid Melody. I think so. I think so. Irrelevant student. I think so. Yeah, the Mermaid Melody. Yeah. Wow. Do you know what's this from? I don't even. I drew so many things. I don't even remember exactly where it's from. This is Inuyasha influence kind of style. You know, they wear like Japanese kind of kimono and like that. Mermaid Melody too. See? I mean, I drew so freaking well. Holy shit, right? I drew this when I was 16, 17 years old in high school. Very pretty, Luna. Oh, I love this drawing too. I really love this. I don't even know. I think I saw this on a sticker and then I just drew it. Sailor Moon. Sailor Moon. I drew a lot of Sailor Moon in primary school and I'm afraid I couldn't keep any of them. I'm afraid this is a drawing of my best friend in high school. She drew so freaking well. This is my best friend drawing and I did some shade in the wings for her. But we are best friend in drawing, so this is my drawing, this is her drawing. Something like that. We sit next to each other in high school. Oh, this isn't from another anime too. I drew this too. like this. I love shading at that time. So that's uh so I keep both of our drawings. This is her drawings too, and then my drawing. I mean, yeah, I need to keep them more carefully. The paper got all wrinkled. All right, and what else? This is an anime project that I did with my best friend in high school. This is a whole the anime the idea we came up with the idea. I mostly work on the story was like we chose the best character, the most beautiful characters in the animes that we both love, and then we put them all together into a beauty contest. It's really funny. So this is it. This is the anime that we drew out. So like this is from Yuri from I don't even know how to call it in English. I only call it in Vietnamese. It's like the mysterious river or something. It's kind of had the same kind of main story with the Queen of Nile, but it's better story. Yuri, and then this is Ursula. She's also in the same kind of comic, and this is Azizu from Queen of Nile, the evil queen in the Queen of Nile. And then we put them together into this is the beauty crown, and then this is MC wearing Vietnamese áo dài, you know. This is like cuộc thi hoa hậu biển means like the sea, the ocean beauty contest, something like that. The beauty of the ocean contest. So we put them all together. This is from Inuyasha, and then a half Ranma. I don't even know exactly where. What else too? What's this? We forgot to put the name here. At the time, we know exactly who's this, but now I don't remember. And we wrote the lines for the characters here too, and of course because we Vietnamese in Vietnam, so of course the beauty contest happened in Vietnam. The language is Vietnamese, and all the MCs are Vietnamese too, and the fans are Vietnamese too. Um, this is a half round, I think. And remember, this is the master, the what do you call it, the flea master or something. It's so cool. We could never finish this because we were so busy at starting. This Kagura. If you're a big Inuyasha fan, this is Kagura, the kind of monster of the wind. This is Kikyo. Oh, so shampoo. Luna, you should. What? Ranma half for obvious reason. It had an impact on my chance self. Right. It's really cool. Luna, you should be charging us. I should have. I should have a stronger capitalist mindset, right? But I mean, oh, Akane, Carol, Yuri, and Asisu, we redrew all the famous characters or the famous comics that we read. So yeah, uh, I'm so happy that I still keep all of this. Oh! Here, this is our storyline. you know, we like this is the competitors. They're coming from Inuyasha. This is the 1.5 round man. See, this is the Queen of Nile. This is from Vùng Đất Xa Xăm. Oh, this is like a far away land or something. That this comic we love it so much, but they never finish it. So sad. I have to check now. At that time, when we graduated from high school, they didn't finish it. So, oh, I have to, after this live film, I have to check this out and I have to finish this. So we met it. These are the competitors, and these are the, what did you call it? People who will evaluate and give points to those competitors, something like that. Only woman exists in Luna's mangas, of course. And we even put the sponsor. I didn't remember any of this. Wow. The sponsor, we have Rumiko. I don't know exactly who is Rumiko now. Tiger Beer, Henneken, Pons, Chanel. The judges, yeah. The judges are like Memphis, Inuyasha, Naraku, Koga, Kuno. All the names of the other characters in those comic books. Our sponsor, Tiger Beer, Henneken, and we are the chef of what do you call it? The organizer is me and my best friend, and the MC is Mandy Moore. You know Mandy Moore, very famous. I think she's from the U.S. Very famous singer, Mandy Moore, and she's the MC in this contest. Wow, wow. And this is it. This is another line. These are talking about oh, we even have the secretary of the judges too. And now the contest will start. Violation of copyright. Connoisseur. God damn it. I really hate it when liberals also said they make like Potter hat. It was like, God damn it, just please don't use Harry Potter as your only theory source. Yeesh. This I have a crime that I need to admit to you, but first let's go through this. Talking about Sailor Moon. At the time, I accidentally saw a Sailor Moon project in from Japan that they have like the live action of Sailor Moon like this, and I immediately cut it out. Sadly, I never had a chance to watch that show from Japan, but I still keep it. I cut it out because I was so freaking happy that finally they had a live action of Sailor Moon, and they had like the right hair color too. And then I also collected this thing. These are the free poster. They put it inside its comic books, and only the the first person who touched that comic book can have those posters. So I was like, I had to like stay in the comic books renting houses and wait for them to brought the brand new comic books, and then I rented those, and then I took out those posters. It was like a reward for me. There's a poster, and they have the schedule of on what day, what kind of comic books, what episode will be out, like this. 2005. Holy shit! It's from 2005. December. What is this? This is also October 2005. Hajime-chan. Oh, I love Am Hành Ngữ, so I don't know even exactly know what years now. Oh, they all from 2005, I think. And this is 2005. The main team is Conan, Detective Conan. Another Harry Potter. This is a new episode. Harry Potter and the Half Blood Prince, I think. What year is this? Oh, also 2009, and the price of them was 80,000 dong. It was less than $4 for a whole book. The Doraemon team. What year is this? 2005 too. So all this come from 2005, I think. Okay, this is to the crown that I need to admit. So, I'm sorry all of everybody that I destroy this comic books, but 5. I teared out the beautiful pages of the comic books that I rented. I feel very bad right now. I turned 5 in 2005. Well, I was collecting anime posters at that time. You were 24 in 2005. Wow. We do have our own animation, but at that time we mostly had I consider that's boys anime. I was a little girl back then, so we had the anime about a group of teenagers who run together, run a robot, Hackman. I try to find it. Hackman, Dũng sĩ Hackman, I think. Dũng sĩ Hackman. Yeah, here. I show you. I'm showing to you. Share. Chrome tab. Here. So this is one of the most famous, the super rare and the most famous Vietnamese anime at that time. We called it the Hesman Knight. And it is a team of 5 people running all together, running the same robot to save the earth. You know, because one person cannot run the robot, it must be 5. I think it's kind of socialist vibe because you have to work together to run the same robot to save the earth. Yeah, something like that. It's not like a one single man hero or something like that. It has to be an effort of a whole group. But this is it. Very famous in the 80s, in the 90s and early 2000s too, I think. Yeah. Yeah, like that. Hessman. Another the power of friendship, something like that. So the next very famous Vietnamese anime is only I forgot. Gì nhở? Chẳng tí à. This is movie, not the. Hey, I just lost my brain right now. Yeah, Thật đầu đến Việt. Yeah, this is the second most famous Vietnamese anime. It was later than a little bit later than the Hasman, and I read this a lot too. This drawing style is super freaking cute with the Vietnamese flag behind them. I love it. So yeah, we do have Vietnamese anime, but at that time in around early 2000, mostly what we read was Japanese because that anime industry of us was not strong at all. Now it's getting stronger and stronger, but yep, it looks like version. I think that it has a lot of influence from that style. Back to the big crime that I did. I tear down the pages of the anime that got the most beautiful drawings and I keep it at home. Sorry. I couldn't afford though to buy the book, so I had to do this. I'm sorry. My bad. Mm, a lot. I had a lot. This too. Ooh, I just dropped some drawing. Oh, I don't remember this. What is this? This is a card, I think, and I drew this out outside of it. Cute little girl. I think elf. I think with a smiling crescent. What's inside? Oh, another Christmas card. Can't take it out. Okay. Christmas card coming from my friend, I think. Ah. It's coming from my mom, quote unquote, my mom in my secondary school. So at that time we had a thing that we play a lot. It was that like we play as family members with each other. So I have a mother, I have a father, I have sisters, and I have a husband. This is kind of another secret that I haven't shown you yet, but I think in the next mooncast I show. That was also I had a husband in my middle school. That was a she, and I love her so much. I even wrote down in my diary. This is my older brother and me. I wrote it down in my diary, my secret diary. It has a key, and I lost the key. I think I have to find a way to open this. This. I lost the key, and I didn't even pay attention to that until I think 2017 when EJ came back to my hometown, and I showed him this, and he opened this, and he read my diary because at that time I wrote it in English because I was afraid that my parents would find out about this and read it, and so I didn't want my parents to know. So I wrote it in English, so it was perfectly good for EJ to understand that. And he read that, and he was like, "Holy shit, Luna, you're bisexual!" Like, what? Really? What? You're like, I literally just called that girl my husband, and I said that I love her so much, and I hope in the future that I can like marry her or something like that. So I mean, in the next mooncast, maybe I can read this to you because I lost the key. I have to find a way to pick this up. The lock picking. So yep, and EJ pointed out that I am freaking bisexual, and this was from before I knew bisexual was a thing. I love her, and we still friend on Facebook right now. We both got married, but I mean, it is a thing that happened in my high school. We send a lot of cards to each other. These, in any holidays or special days, Valentine's or Women's Day, something like that. We send cards to each other, cute little girls like this, roses, homemade cards, something like that. So yeah. Oh, we send the card like heart to each other too, like this. Ooh. lots of cards, and that's mostly it. I think that is my secret childhood box. A buy story. Exactly. Exactly. It's a buy story. So it's really bullshit when, tubs and a bunch of you know, homophobic, transphobic people talking about us, being in LGBTQ plus being queer is like a not not natural thing, and it is like I even heard. I don't want to name a name, but I heard a fucking horrible dude said that being queer is like the product of capitalism and it is not natural. Blah blah. I was born in Vietnam, living here, and I was bisexual before I even had any idea of that. Seriously, in early 2000, Vietnam was still under the US sanction. I didn't even know anything about that idea, but I still had that feelings. It is totally natural to me, at least in my personal experience. And it's just natural. It's just nobody taught me about that. I didn't couldn't like have any information about what that kind of feeling. And I think that if I learned about that more and I knew exactly what was that, I, I could have been more open. Maybe I could have been a lesbian right now. I don't even know. Or be more open about that. I only knew about that in 2017 when EJ pointed that out. I never even thought about it. But generally speaking, it was really sad. That was why I believe that having education is very important. You need to educate your kids about that to equip them with knowledge so they can live with their true self. You know, they can be their true self and they know exactly who they are, and that's going to be so much better for the kids. Talking about queer, years ago I was absolutely fat with manga, anime, romance. It was also bad until I started reading and watching some gay anime manga. So much better things actually happened. Right? So talking about anime. Anime is just an art, style of art. Very beautiful and very influential. So it means that it's just a tool to deliver your belief, your ideology, your ideas, your thought. And how you use it totally depends on the artist. And we, as I've been, a lot of people, they hate manga and anime and they blame everything like anime was a mistake. It was like, what's wrong with you? It's an art. It's just a tool, like a knife. You can use a knife to kill people, yes, but you can also use a knife to save people and then cook food to feed people. It is just a tool, and we, as artists and also as revolutionaries, we need to use that tool to spread our thought and our beliefs, and that is very important. Think so. Very important. So obviously, if you just dismiss the power of anime, manga, cartoon, you're dead wrong. Because if you don't use it and you dismiss it, our enemy is gonna use it like terribly a lot. Look at Disney. Disney, they use cartoon and they made cartoon and they spread it terrible. They whitewash all the beautiful stories of the whole world and they made all the characters white or white attracting, like something like that. And Pocahontas, I never want to watch Pocahontas because it was horrible. Never. It's in Hollywood too. It's movies is art. So anyway, the whole point of me showing you the my box of childhood was that I'm a big anime fan. I'm a big Potterhead. I'm also bisexual. And I'm also Conrad. Those things are not um opposite to each other and not exclusive from each other. They can all be the same. The very important is how you know you understand those things in your head. So lots of you have been saying like Harry Potter is terrible, and if you read Harry Potter, you're liberal or something like that. But actually, it's not. I'm a big Potterhead, and I'm not a liberal. I hate liberals so freaking much. Oh, you were watching a movie with Setsuko Hara, loving it, but I got in the way. Aw, thank you so much. Yes, you can resume watching your favorite anime later. My thought on J.K. Rowling, terrible, fucking tough. She's terrible. I hate her. Yeah, that's my feeling towards her. All right, next, class consciousness. Back to the main topic today. This morning I woke up and I check out Facebook and I follow the official newspaper from the National Defense of Vietnam, and they talk about in the U.S. right now. In just the weekend, you have 300 mass shootings. 124, 125 people died, and more than 300 people got injured heavily. And even in our national TV channel of Vietnam, we talk about this. And we all kind of shocked but not shocked. And we all talk about what's going on in the US right now. And most people just talk about the gun ownership, and by who can buy gun, who can own gun. And they mostly just blame like liberals. They mostly just blame the gun ownership in the USA. Nobody talk about anything behind that thing. And it's very sad. What is Vietnamese government? I'm sorry. Suddenly, because my mom is burning. Today is the death anniversary day of my grandpa, the communist grandpa who died in the Vietnam War in 1968 in Tet Offensive. So my mom is burning the incense right now. That's why I sneeze. And this afternoon, for dinner, we will go to the old house of that of my grandpa. I'll be back in a second. The internet is not really good. Oh, the internet is extremely. Hey, I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. The internet was so bad that I had to reload the browser. So long story short, today is the death anniversary of that grandpa of mine, and tonight we would go to the house that they used to live in. Had a big family party, burn the incense for him, like that. I think the increase of gun violence in America can be blamed on Zuckerberg of the social media networks governed by the algorithm are helping to spread the worst thinking to common people. Definitely has some influence in it. Absolutely. Why do some so many people hate lumpenproletariat. False consciousness, because they don't see lumpenproletariat as the product of capitalism, and anyone can be lumpenproletariat. They saw those people as a personal personal feelings, something like that, and they blame those people in like. So, for example, sex workers in the U.S. Sex workers usually, not from just the U.S. but from the whole world too. Usually, they saw those people as people with no dignity, and they didn't find a real job, quote unquote. This is I'm trying to rephrase the argument coming from those people, because we have those people in Vietnam too. So that's why they blame those people, and beggars, and also criminals, ex criminals, after they got out prison. What else? A lot too, and it's it's sad that people do not understand why they have to be like that. None of those people want to be in that position, but life, quote unquote, push them down into that path. They didn't have a good education, they didn't have a good family, they care of them mostly because of poverty, and many other reasons too. Many other reasons too. And lots of people, it is true story that lots of people, they girls in Vietnam, they were born in super poor family and they didn't know better. So one day there were a group of human traffickers went to their house, lied to them that, hey, go work we have a good like working condition, you high salaries, you should go work with us, and, send the money back home to help your family. They were naive and they followed those people, and later they found out they were human traffickers and they forced those girls to work in brothel. It was horrible. It was totally against illegal, and the government is trying so hard to crack this down. But because of that thing, it's still happening in Vietnam. Women trafficking is a huge problem in Vietnam, and you know what? Lots of Vietnamese girls got trafficked outside of Vietnam and go worked in brothels run by rich people and to serve rich people. It's it's really sad. What we need to do is to educate people about why people become lumpenproletariat and why you should, instead of hating them, you should understand them, talk to them, try to sympathize with them, understand why they are in that position, and sympathize and want to help them to have a better life. Everything is because of the refugees. Yes. I feel like the lack of class consciousness, individualism, and alienation contribute to gun violence in the US. Absolutely. I was about to talk about this too. Now, lack of class consciousness, individualism, and alienation, exactly. I talked to AJ yesterday about the class character of those mass shooters. In my opinion, I could be wrong, but in my opinion, those people, they heavily indoctrinated and they have their own oppressions and issues and problems. And also they were fed right-wing propaganda their whole life. Not all of them are white, even though most of them are white, the mass shooters, but not all. Means those people are in the oppressed groups, and instead of having class consciousness, instead of understanding why they are in this position and they have to face this problem, they instead blame innocent people, and then they did that. It is an act of frustration, but in the wrongest way ever. And this is extremely sad. The USA destroys a nation, causing an immigration crisis to go to USA to get opportunities, not find their home nation, boosting the USA capitalist profit. Yeah, exactly. And also at the same time, those people, the false consciousness and no class consciousness whatsoever, and also the individualism, every man for himself. They have their own problems, so because they only can think of themselves and for themselves, they don't care about other people. They don't even think that, okay, if I bring the gun in down the street and I do this to people, I will cause 100 times more misery for other people and so many other families. Maybe I should not do that because I don't want anybody to go through same thing like me. But no, they only can think about themselves, so they don't give a shit about other people. Individualism, that mindset. Alienation too, because they have no connection with other people. They have no sympathy. That's why they did it. We grew up in a stereotypical white suburban upbringing, and we were implicitly taught that our neighbors weren't community, they were threats. Yeah, that's that's a strange concept in Vietnam, because we wouldn't have a saying in Vietnam that sell your relatives who live far away from you and buy the neighbor that live next to you. He did think that, like, yeah, the community is very important, and the neighbors that live next to you even more important than the relatives that live far away from you. The UK Jubilee celebration? No, I never heard of that. What is that? No wonder why Americans barely talk to the neighbors. Wow. Wow. We can say without exaggeration, we've only known community online. Wow. Oh, I believe the UK thing means the Queen has been in power for 70 years. Right. So strange. 70 freaking years. She's 96 years old. 3 years old younger than Henry Kissinger. They both alive. Even the evil deny them in hell. UK was a mistake. I mean, the UK was the starting point of colonialism. I'm sorry, but even the UK started America. You know, the UK Empire, the England Empire, and the European countries too. Tough island. uh, England. Yes, I'm sorry. England. I. I have same questions. Why is she alive? Why is she the queen? Why is kissing her alive? And why are any of these things real? Why? The queen has been in power even before the battle of the beautiful. Yup, cannot believe it. She's still fucking alive and still have the throne. Oh, Red Yoki, I received your email. When I have time, I will answer your email. Don't worry. I received it. Okay. The queen's been in power for 70 years, but a slightly leftist president gets re-elected for 4 more years and it's a dictatorship. What are you talking about? The queen has no real power. They just exist for tourism, you know? It's not dictatorship at all. Or who? Angela Merkel, she's in the power for 16 years. But that's absolutely not dictatorship because she got re-elected democratically by her own people. But no, Xi Jinping is a dictator. Yes. God damn it. Anything else? Um, um, development. Development, huh? I mean, here's the thing. I talked to like a lot, and I wish that EJ could be here so he can talk about this more. But EJ has been in the US right now, and he will be back in maybe 10 days. I could be wrong, but around that. And he talked a lot to me about how people in the USA has no understanding of development whatsoever. So here's the problem: they have things that they want to do, and they keep arguing with each other about how to get there. And then they argue with each other, and then they stuck, and then they kind of lost hope, and they just don't do it because there's no way we can be at that point. It's really depressing because, again, because they don't have any understanding of development. So in order to reach a destination, you need to, to have a plan step by step. Slowly you will get there. But most of you just talk about very far point in the future. And then you're incapable of fighting, a slow step of how to get there. And then you frustrate and then you ended up with doing nothing and then whiny about it. It's sad. And I don't blame you 100%. It is because you don't have the education to have plans to slowly can gain what you want. Yeah, this cycle of discussion, arguing, doing nothing leaves so many people here to die. Exactly. So, for example, talk about, for example, I have two examples for you. So a few days ago, EJ asked me because he's joining a local organization, a local chapter of an organization, and they talk about how, because most of the members are now white, and they're talking about how can they get non-white people to join the organization. And he just asked me that, and I told him like, well, you have to do this very slowly because we non-white people, we don't trust white people. We don't trust people. We don't trust organization with white group. So what you have to do right now is to slowly gain our trust. And how to do that? There are two main things you need to do through official statements and through real life action. Means that you have to have an official statement, as just like every country has their own constitution. You have to openly, clearly say that you support the very specific problems of non-white, such as land by decolonization, Black Lives Matter, at least, or the end the slavery system of reason and justice for black people, something like that. You have to state that very clearly. And then not just that, you have to go in real life, and then you have to prove that you care about us and you can help us in real life. You have to do mutual aid or something like that, and go join the protest or the talk of non-white people and something like that. And yep, I mean that you cannot just sit there and talk and whine about it like, oh, why not white people not in our organization? Like, you have to do it very practical way like that. All right, and that is very important. Hey, EJ's here.
Hello, can you hear me?
Oh my.
Wait, I gotta get
That's
headphones. I'll be right back. Wait. How do I remove me from the chat, Luna? I'll be right back. Remove me from the
hey,
chat.
we cannot hear you. EJ will talk more about this, absolutely. But I mean, it is a thing. Another example was we will talk about the mass shooting. Most of you talk about how to end this. Of course, nobody likes this, especially non-white people like us. Nobody wants to be shot on the street out of no freaking reason. But in order to end the situation, it is very hard. It needs lots of plans and many steps. The first step is to not blaming the gun ownership, because the problem that causes is the false consciousness, the alienation, individualism, racism, white supremacism. So first you have to do is to help non-white people, people in marginalized group, to protect themselves so they can arm themselves, so they can survive in this shit. And then after we can arm those people in the marginalized groups, okay, when they can have at least the basic right to be alive, and then we move on and we talk about how to destroy this indoctrination, how to win against that kind of false consciousness. Emma, I can't believe how brainwashed my parents are. I mean, we Christian, we should be supporting socialist projects. But my parents told me that communism is Satan's imitation of Christ's gospel. What? Excuse me? What? Racial minorities and LGBTQ people will not hand in their guns when the far right is armed. Exactly. And a bunch of liberals do not understand that. They cannot, they are incapable of thinking a step further. You know. Oh, the mass shooting happened because of guns, so we must ban all the guns from all the people. It's I talked about this so many times already. I don't want to repeat myself. Generally speaking, they have a very sheer understanding of the society of the US now, and they thought that just ban all guns, the problem would disappear. It's just like when you have a huge pimple, you're just trying to, you know, try to get rid of the red skin, the red color, without understanding that it actually the push, the pus under that skin is causing that problem. But instead of popping that pus out to completely deal with that huge pimple, they just put like medicine in and try to make that red pump like disappear. But actually, it's just getting worse and worse and worse because the pus is still there. And one day, if you don't get the pus out, that's gonna your whole body will be infected, and you're gonna die of infection, the blood infection in that way. It's as simple as that, but they cannot see the problem behind that. People really think getting rid of specific classes of weapons will get rid of the indoctrination that makes them lash out in the first place. Exactly, as I said, many times that mosquito guns are just tools for people. It is the people who holding those guns and use those guns to shoot and kill other people. We need to deal with the people, not the tools. That is very important. Need to deal with the people, and once you have to deal with the people, means that it's very difficult and hard problem. First, as I said, you armed vulnerable people so they can live and survive, and then you slowly fight against that indoctrination. And once you can, if like they are fascist Nazis who are too indoctrinated to stop using their guns, and we then have to find another way to deal with them. You know what that way is. I don't want to talk about it. This is the last solution, but we have to prepare for that. Nobody wants that. And those liberals, they just love talking about deal with everything in peaceful way, and why they blame us communists are bloodthirsty people who always want to deal with things in violence. They don't understand that every single one, especially leftists, we just want to end things in a peaceful way. Nobody want to die because of that. Okay, can you talk now, EJ, so we can make sure that the audio works?
Can you hear me?
Cannot hear you.
You
Nothing.
cannot hear me? You cannot hear me. It's impossible that you can't hear me.
EJ, or you just me?
You have to be able to hear me. Check. Everything says that it's your problem. It's your problem, not me. Not me, it's you. Your problem. Emma can hear me.
I know that. I know why.
Michael can hear me. Bradville can hear me.
I can hear you now. Hi.
Now you can hear me. Now she says, hello. It's very dark out here, but maybe that's ambiance. I don't know.
I can see a quarter of your face. Nice.
Boom. How's everybody doing? I'm here in the belly of the beast, in the heart of the empire, reporting live.
How was it?
Somewhere in South Carolina. The people hear me. The people. I wanted to talk. Luna was asking me, what should I do my Mooncast about? Once again, I have not planned anything, because that's the way we roll here at the Non-Compete Cooperative. We don't plan our shows ahead. We did for a
Plans
while
are
there.
bourgeoisie.
Plans are bourgeois. Well, actually, that's a good transition to what we're talking about, because one thing I'm noticing, I'm just like, it's been so fascinating being here after being gone for so long, being here after COVID. Luna, society's falling apart, like, for real. It's so wild. They're having shortages of change. Like when I pay cash for things now, half the time they don't give me any change because there's a change shortage. There's a
How
major
can that happen? Does the banks do not release new notes and coins?
there's shortages on everything. It's wild. It's really wild.
I really don't get it, because literally bank can just print more money to fill in the
I think I don't know. Is it
gap.
anybody? Can anybody in the chat explain it to me? Because nobody I've talked to knows what's going on, and I haven't bothered to Google it. I don't know why there's a change shortage, but there is. But like, all right.
Raja's mad. What the fuck you mean after COVID?
No, COVID's over here, Luna. It's over. Nobody cares. The only people I see wearing masks are, I mean, like, I would say 90%. I'm being facetious. Obviously, people are still dying of COVID and getting COVID, but the only people I see wearing masks or doing anything to take precautions, generally speaking, are like black folks and people of color. But I would say that like 95% of the white people around here are not wearing masks and doing nothing to take precautions whatsoever. So I don't know what to say. I mean, it's after. I mean, like, people are acting like it's after COVID. Like, we're in a post-COVID world. I mean, I'm in South Carolina, so, you know, but I wasn't. Well, you know, the only two states I've been in are South Carolina and Texas, so that tells you something. I was in the airport in Texas for a few hours.
You went to Texas?
Just in the airport for a few hours, and it was like really scary there, because all these people are coming from all over the world into the Dallas-Fort Worth International Terminal, taking no precautions, crowding in. It's just wild. So, I mean, it's just really going to get rougher and rougher. I really think so. I think this summer there's going to be, I mean, you know, gasoline's almost at $5 a gallon here, and it's pretty cheap in South Carolina compared to a lot of places. Diesel's over $5 a gallon. You know, and diesel's what they use for our trucks and trains and all that kind of stuff for the most part. So,
Eddie!
The Mint has a personnel shortage, and the pandemic decreased the circulation of cash and coins. Okay. That explains that. Thanks, Eddie. We need to have another chat again soon, Eddie.
Yeah.
EJ was at my city's airport. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Marcus Raisin, I was. I mean, so let's talk about development, because that's one thing I'm noticing. Like, people in the USA, we are not taught about how development functions, and I was guilty of this myself until very recently, relatively speaking. I mean, I only started to really study the concept of change, motion, and development in the last basically year and a half, 2 years, whenever I started helping Luna with the annotation and research for her curriculum book, which has been once again delayed. Sorry, folks, but will come out sooner or later. Luna, you're getting that phone noise again. Can you just keep your phone like turned off when you're streaming or something?
That's my mom.
Your mom's phone noise?
Ooh.
You can't do anything about it? All right. I hate that noise. It kind of like unironically, it raises my blood pressure, because I used to hear that noise when I was doing professional video work, and it meant like we had to do another take or something, and so it's just like really gives me anxiety when I hear that noise. Like, if I was ever doing it, like,
that's my mom's ringtone.
No, it's not a ringtone. It's it's like an electric feedback noise from the phone signal.
I see.
Because you're using
any of that.
You must have a phone near you somewhere. But anyway, doesn't matter. All right, listen. There's cicadas. That could be in Vietnam or South Carolina. We are both cicada zones.
It's all right, on your side.
It's not on my side, Luna. I'm talking to you on my phone. My phone can't interfere with itself. That's wild talk. It doesn't matter, Luna. We're moving on.
Move on.
We're developing. We're developing forward. We're changing, and we're having motion. But so change. Okay, dialectical materialism is. Would you agree with this, Luna? Would you say that I'm a student of dialectical materialism, and Luna is basically my teacher? Would you agree with this, Luna, my mentor, that dialectical materialism could be defined as the study of change and development and motion?
Yes, it is. It is literally it.
I think so too. And I think that
Literally, the main principle of dialectical materialism is that you have to accept the fact that the world, the universe, always change.
It's constantly developing.
Constantly developing, and also you have to learn the relationship between those chains. You know, the development. They contradict each other many times, and also like they align with each other too, and how to we as small human beings we can make that change to change the world, something like that. Yeah.
And I came on your views are just dropping since I came on. You were like over 108, now you're down to 73. All right. Well, we're getting into it. We're getting into it, folks. So stay tuned. This is going to be a good conversation. All right. So I think that one of the biggest problems with the USA, generally speaking, but with the left in the USA more specifically, is the fact that we don't study change, motion, and development. Okay. So let me get philosophical for just a moment here. And I this is something I kind of like sussed out from reading a lot and talking to Luna a lot and all this work we've been doing. It's late here. I know it's late. I'm exhausted myself. Anyway, I believe that dialectical materialism is trying to acknowledge the limitations of the human mind. Okay, because from what I can gather from reading the Vietnamese curriculum and a lot of texts from Marx and Engels and a lot of other people, is that the whole universe is like one system. It's one process in motion, right? And this almost has like kind of Taoist and even Buddhist kind of connotations to me, but I think that dialectical materialism kind of recognizes that the whole universe is one process, one system in motion, and that all of these different separations and distinctions and such those are processes that happen in our brain, right? But like really everything is connected to everything else so intrinsically, and we're all intertwined so thoroughly, but like our brain functions in a way that, allows us to survive in nature by breaking things down into all these different sort of discrete, distinct concepts and metaphysical categories and all this kind of stuff, right? But what dialectical materialism tries to do is allow us to process things in the ways that our brains can process things, while still trying to acknowledge the complexity and the intertwining and the dynamics of all these different connections. So one of the big points that the curriculum book that Luna's translated tries to make repeatedly is that every single thing, phenomena, an idea in the universe is mutually connected with every other thing, phenomena, idea in the universe, right? So like, and everything mutually develops everything else. So one thing that's really important to understand is that nothing ever impacts something else without being impacted itself.
Yes.
Right. So like, if I touch this chair, right, there's a rocking, you can't see it. There's a rocking chair here. If I touch this rocking chair, it's rocking now, right? And I have like affected this rocking chair, but it is also affecting me somehow.
Yeah.
Right.
It's changing the shape of your butt.
Right. I mean, there's all these different ways in which it's affected me in many ways. I mean, for one thing, I'm talking about it. It's drawn my attention. Yeah. But anyway, if the universe is a process, what is its entropy? It has to be increasing because we assume it is closed. That's beyond the scope of this conversation. I don't know enough about entropy to really have a useful analysis there. I think that's fascinating. I'd love to have a dialectical materialist analysis of entropy, but I'd have to do maybe Eddie can come on, and Eddie and Al from Leaf Left can come and talk to us about that one day. But that's the basic point, right? Okay, so in dialectical materialism, development, change, and motion, those three words, they all describe the same thing, which is dialectical development, which means things mutually impacting each other. So one of the things that dialectical materialism points out, and this is a model, by the way, right? This is only a model, as they say in Monty Python when they say Camelot. It's only a model. So it's not a perfect one-to-one description of actual material reality. We're your resident physicists. I know we need Eddie here in the house. But what we're trying to do with dialectical materialism, and dialectical materialism is always being developed too, right? It's a living, breathing philosophy that we have to creatively apply and develop ourselves. We can't just read the old dusty books. This is a point that the Vietnamese curriculum makes, is that we have to be like using these ideas to creatively apply them in our day-to-day lives. So anyways, but one of the concepts is that change, motion, development, all these things, it's driven by contradiction. Contradiction really just means like when two things interact with each other in such a way that they are that something has to like give, right? Like one thing is going to eventually negate the other thing, right? So, but we don't study these things in the West, so we don't really understand it. So the way something that Marx talked about a lot, and Engels, is that you can't just, reality will not bend around our ideas, okay? And that's something that we in the West are really confused about. So the way that we think about, if we were going to do some kind of a project, the way we think about it is we make our little plan, right? We make our little ideal plan in our heads, and we say like, okay, these parts are going to go here, and we're going to do this, and this is our timeline and everything. And then we like set that plan into motion, right? And sure, you could set up like milestones, and you'll stop and you'll reassess every so often or whatever. But it's a very kind of idealist conception of how to develop something, and it doesn't really reflect how we should be interacting with human society if we want to be developing our revolutionary movement, right? I mean, so let me give you an example, a really concrete example that'll hopefully make sense of what I'm trying to say here. So when I used to run a business, because I am a recovering dirty capitalist, and I started a business in around 2000. Well, I started in college, but let's say 2006, and it was a video production company, and all we did was video. But I did know how to make like really simple, basic websites. So in my Yellow Pages ad, just to date myself a little bit, I had a phone book ad for my business. And in that ad, it mentioned, it was like, video, commercials, and website development. And I had one business partner, and we were getting like a lot of phone calls about website development, right? And I was too busy doing the video stuff to really be doing a lot of website stuff, right? So I just sat down and I was like, all right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to start a web development company. And I sat down and I made a business plan. And I'm like, I'm going to hire a developer. I'm going to hire a graphic designer. I'm going to go, all in on this. And I set up my little plan, and then I like pulled the trigger and just jumped right in. I literally tried to like flip the switch. And it was like a disaster that ended up lasting like half a decade. Because I jumped in too fast. I didn't really know what I was doing. And yet I was the boss of these people. I didn't really know who I was hiring. I just jumped right in, right? So even within the capitalist framework, it was like, I tried to flip the switch. I tried to do the utopian thing where I make this ideal. I have this idea in my head of like, what are all the things you need to have a fully functioning, fully developed website development company? And I just threw the switch and did it. And it limped along for 5 years. But the thing about it is the video production thing that I was doing was basically supporting, like life supporting the web development thing the whole time. It never broke even. It was just like a huge money pit, right? So even within this context of like building a capitalist business or whatever, I made all the wrong decisions because I did not understand development. Now, I thought I did because I read all these business books. And the business books were, for like small business, like start your own small business and stuff. And they're like, okay, make a business plan, make a cash flow get your funding, have 6 months of funding, blah, 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 and I did all the things that I was like supposed to do. But really what I should have done, if I understood development processes more, is I should have taken it more gradually, and I should have I should have tested my ideas with practice in a more iterative manner, right? So for instance, like I probably should have started by just hiring some folks I know this is all a big capitalist framework. It might be annoying, but I hope it illustrates the point. Like for instance, a good first step might have been to work with people on a temporary basis and then get to know some people and learn some more things about it and, develop it and find out like, oh, this idea that I have is totally wrong, or like this concept that I had, we need to take it in a different direction and that sort of thing. So like the whole point of dialectic materialism, if you really want to boil it down, in my opinion, is to understand the dialectical relationship between our ideas and material reality, and understand the fact that material conditions determine what's possible, but we can impact back on the material reality with our ideas through our labor processes, right? So like, for instance, in the situation with me trying to start a web development company, I had material conditions of like, for instance, I had a very limited budget. I had no equipment. I had no access to like means of production, like software or whatever. And I didn't know what the hell I was doing. And I didn't take any of those material conditions into consideration. And I tried to bend reality around my idea. You know what I mean? So like, I see all of this in our movement in the West, in our movements, our splintered, fractured movements. And I see people who they just want to like throw the switch, and they don't understand that there's a lot of development that needs to occur. And in order to do development properly, you have to understand how development works. What does Zenitha say here?
Just had a light bulb moment. The lack of the understanding of development is a lot of what influences U.S. approach to projects and even foreign policy.
Oh yeah. Okay, so like raise your hand in the chat if you've ever worked for a big corporation. I've worked with a lot of big corporations. So the way that so there are ways in which capitalists have this kind of vulgar understanding of development, but one thing that corporations and the government tend to do is that they have such massive resources, right? Like, if you have literally millions and billions of dollars at your disposal, you can literally just kind of like throw everything at the wall and see what sticks. So I can't tell you how many times I've had a lot of people raise their hands. I've had a lot of clients, for instance, that were corporate clients, and I would do a video like, package for a project that they just like sink, hundreds of thousands of dollars into, just to see if it'll work or not, and it's in a way a kind of a dialectical materialist appropriate form of development, because they are testing their ideas against reality, but they have so many resources that they can do it in this really extravagant way, where they could be like, okay, we're going to launch a $300,000 project and we'll just see if it works or not. And if it does, we'll keep doing it. And if it doesn't, we'll cancel it. But we have to recognize that we in the working class and we in the revolutionary movement, we don't have those kinds of resources. So we have to be a lot more restrained in the way that we develop things, and a hell of a lot more thrifty, and a hell of a lot more economical, in terms of our energy and our resources and everything. Mm-hmm. So that's a big problem with the left as well. And I've been guilty of it myself, I mean, there's many times where I've been involved with projects where people get really excited and they jump in, and, there's this big, massive initial burst of energy and participation, but it tends to peter out when you do it like that. And I think that we need to really start to understand how development works and study that a lot more if we want to find success. I mean, if you look at like the successful revolutions that have occurred, they all started small. Ho Chi Minh had what? How many people when he walked over from China into Vietnam? And
4 other people.
4 other people? Yeah. But they did. Okay, so here's the other thing. I'm sorry I'm rambling, but I've just been talking to so many people and having so many experiences here that frustrate me so much. Like, we have to have more ideological training in the West, and there's so much resistance to it. I've talked to so many organizations. I'm not going to name any names for various reasons, but there are so. I gotta spray some bug spray on me. I'm getting like eaten up by mosquitoes here. Hold on.
Same here. Easy. Lot
Sorry.
too many mosquitoes in Vietnam.
And I'm not
In my
criticizing anybody
area.
for anything I haven't done myself. I'm not. I hope nobody feels like I'm preaching from on high, Luna. And like, I've definitely made these same mistakes myself in various ways at various times in my life, and as a revolutionary. But like, there's this strong resistance to ideological development in the West. I mean, people
Wow.
for various reasons. So some people have told me we don't want to, because like cadre training is the way that. Let's talk about cadre training, Luna. Can you explain what cadre training is?
Cadre training is just we would, in a group of communists and socialists, we would choose the people with the best potential, and also they have the time to do it, and then they also have to volunteer to do it too. We don't force anybody to do anything they don't feel comfortable with, and then they choose the best people to teach them everything about the ideology and the practical ways, and then those people would go out and spread that knowledge out.
Yeah.
And just like spread like
It's
that.
like, I mean, this is just one way of thinking about it, but it's sort of like I'll teach 10 people, and then each one of those people will go out and teach 10 people. But you all get on the same page on some level within this project that you're building. That like, this is what we believe. These are the techniques that we're going to use to develop things. This is what development is. Like
that is why we don't teach the whole ideology. It is the basic principles of Marxism, Leninism, and then the basic principle of Ho Chi Minh taught. We don't need to agree with each other about every single detail of it, but we must agree with each other about the basic principles.
And it doesn't have to be, of course, Marxist Leninism. I mean, this could be used with any kind of project, on Earth.
Yeah.
But like, just everyone needs to be kind of on the same page. And if someone's not okay with that, then they just don't join.
Yeah, don't join.
The work or whatever. But anyway, like this is like the model that was used by a lot of successful revolutionaries in history. And I mean, like the IWW used to have all kinds of training and workshops. There used to be, what do they call them? Like working class colleges, I think they were called, or something like that, or worker colleges, I think. Like anarchists did that. They had the new schools in Catalonia. I mean, it doesn't have to be like rigid indoctrination. In fact, the Vietnamese people at the beginning were illiterate. So it's not like they could have been like, even reading these dusty old books.
Yeah.
They just,
mostly
but anyway,
through speaking and talking to each other. Only in the 50s, after we won against French colonialism, we started teaching each other how to read and write.
Yeah.
10 years after we had the revolution, we taught people how to read and write.
And that's a form of development, Ho Chi Minh understood development very well and understood how to develop socialist people with socialist characteristics, right? And another really key principle of development is you look at anything, phenomenon, or idea. You look at the working class. You look at our revolutionary movement. You look at yourself, and you try to identify the characteristics that aid your goal. The characteristics that, for lack of a better term, the good characteristics, and you try to develop those. And then you find the bad characteristics that are going to hinder you, and you try to weaken and negate those characteristics, right? Like that's a fundamental thing right there. So, I mean, the way that Westerners think about so many things is so weird. Like, for instance, like let's talk about like the petty bourgeoisie and the middle class, right? And the upper middle class, and everything. So it's like there's this weird thing where Western leftists, they look at like the petty bourgeoisie and the middle class. They only see them as like the class enemy, and anybody who's petty bourgeoisie is just like worthless trash that needs to just be like, eliminated or annihilated or whatever, or ostracized or whatever. And now I can understand why, because right now, I with this work, I'm doing like a little bit of work, which is putting me in contact with some very wealthy people, which I would definitely describe as like petty bourgeoisie. And frankly, Luna and I, being like essentially intelligentsia that are earning a living through intelligentsia work, I mean, I think we would probably qualify as petty bourgeoisie ourselves. But anyway, I think that the Vietnamese perspective of the petty bourgeoisie was a lot more useful. Let's put it that way. So the idea is like, okay, you take the elements of the petty bourgeoisie that could aid the revolution, and you develop the characteristics that will aid the revolution, and you try to weaken the ones that don't. I mean, it's like I think one big thing is like, correct me if I'm wrong here, Luna, but it's like try not to get too emotionally and personally invested in these
Yes.
kinds of things, and try to.
Yes.
You're almost like you're like a mechanic working on a machine, right? Because
Yes.
because these are
Yes.
like processes in motion, right? And yeah, it's very difficult because like the other thing is you have to understand that the working class, like in the USA, is highly developed. We have a highly developed working class, but guess who's been doing the developing? First of all,
Yeah.
the capitalist class has developed the working class tremendously and sort of sculpted and shaped the working class to have characteristics that
Fascist.
stabilize capitalism. Yeah, fascism is a big part of it, and resist. Make the working class resistant to revolution. Right. So the working class is highly developed in the USA, and the bourgeois civil society is like so permeates the working class so much in the USA. So we have to think about ways that we can essentially like undevelop those characteristics of the working class at large while we develop a counterculture, as Gramsci put it, our own movement that offers an alternative, and start kind of pulling people out of that bourgeois civil society framework into our framework as we simultaneously try to undevelop the capitalists' damage that's been done and try to strengthen the characteristics of the working class that will eventually promote revolution. That's a huge project. It's a massive, massive project, and it's going to take a lot of people doing a lot of different things, and it's going to take a lot of trial and error. Fred Hampton, somebody made a comment here, Zenitha, about the Black Panthers. A lot of the development is overlooked when the USians look at it, even though groups like the Black Panther Party for Self-Defense developed from a small effort and people overlooked that. The Black Panthers were also very good at development. They understood development thoroughly. The Black Panthers also started as a small group of people and branched out into a national network of revolutionists who really challenged the state, the bourgeois state in the USA, more than any other organization in the history of the United States, I think. So much so that the USA had to like ruthlessly and violently obliterate them. And we can learn from that. Obviously, their material conditions were a lot different back when they were active and rising in power. But one thing Fred Hampton said was, we cannot just talk, we cannot just listen, we have to act. And we have to make mistakes. And when we make mistakes, we learn. And that's what dialectical materialism is. That's all it is. It's just you test your ideas in reality, and you can't okay, something Marx said was I'm paraphrasing here, I'm going to butcher this, but it's something like the working class has no ideological utopia. We have no ideological vision of society that we will try to like bend reality around. The current society, and this is a really key principle of development, the current society, as Marx put it, is pregnant with the socialist society that's to come. Because another principle of development is that every stage of development has characteristics that will be passed on to the next stage of development. So just like right now capitalism retains characteristics of feudalism. Feudalism retained characteristics of like the slave societies that preceded it. It's like those characteristics get passed on, right? I mean, we still have character. And by the way, when we first start to, if we manage to win the revolution and start to dismantle capitalism, our socialist society in the immediate aftermath of capitalism will retain characteristics of capitalism. And we have to realize that we, as socialists, especially in the West, especially in the USA where I'm from, right? Like I'm a communist now, I'm an anarchist now, but I retain characteristics from when I used to be a right-wing libertarian. I retain characteristics from when I used to be a liberal, or from when I used to be a centrist, right? And so what I have to do is, when I'm doing my self-development, is try to identify those characteristics and strengthen the ones that will be useful for me now as a revolutionary communist, and weaken the ones that will hinder me. Because there are some characteristics that I've taken from, for instance, being a capitalist, that are very useful for me as a communist revolutionary now. And I want to continue developing those traits and characteristics, right? I think that having an understanding of the mind of like an entrepreneurial capitalist for instance, has been really useful in reaching out to some people. I've got one video on my channel. I got a few videos on my channel about like my former experience as a capitalist, and I've had a few people reach out to me and say, "Hey, I watched your video and I was thinking about starting a business, but I'm going to make a co-op instead." Or I've had a couple of people say, "I own a small business and I'm going to convert it to a cooperative after watching my videos." Right? And the reason I was able to reach through to those people and have that impact is because of those characteristics that I retained from being a capitalist. So when you start to think about the world in this way, and this is why I've become such an evangelist for dialectical materialism, it's because it's just all it is a way of looking at these complex systems, these complex processes in motion from a variety of angles to have a comprehensive analysis and to understand change, motion, and development. That's all it really, really boils down to. Please correct me if I'm wrong, Luna, but it's just a really useful framework for analysis and for understanding ourselves and our own movement and the world around us.
Yeah. So the thing is that with dialectical materialism, we are the working class, especially like intellectuals like us. When you look at things, you need to crack it down. Look at the material conditions first, and then crack it down to the strong points and the weaknesses, and what can help us and what will harmful to us, and then we will uphold those that can help us and then try to eliminate the things that can be harmful to us. And it's as simple as that. And then this kind of thing you need to apply to every single situation that you have in your own life. And then it's like by approaching in that way, it would I tried it many times before, and it did help me feel less lost, because before that I feel so lost. But like, I want to be like that, but I'm here and I don't know how, and I'm just so frustrated, lost, and I don't want to do anything. Frustration like that, and just crack it down like that. It's going to be way easier for you to move forward.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just every single problem that we have right now, there are ways of addressing them, but it's not through, and this is what's so frustrating, right? Because I see it in so many of the people, the situations that I get involved with, and the orgs that I've been talking to and stuff like that. The solution is really not, like, talking is such a small part of the solution, and thinking is such a small part of the solution, right? Like, yeah, you have to analyze and you have to discuss and you have to make a plan, but like the practice is where you will learn what works and what doesn't work. And I can just say that from my experience in other areas of my life. I mean, like, ever since I've started applying dialectical materialism to, like, the more mundane aspects of my life, I have noticed that I feel more clear-headed. I feel less confused and overwhelmed about things that are happening in my life. Like, for instance, with exercise, I've always felt kind of overwhelmed about diet and exercise because I didn't really learn much about it growing up. I didn't have very good education about it. And I've now realized that, like, dialectical materialism is a great framework for fitness and nutrition and that sort of thing. So, like, when I'm so I think we've all done this. You get really busy and you stop exercising for like several weeks, right? And then you want to get back into exercising again. Well, you've already lost, if you haven't exercised for like a month, you've already lost what you had a month ago. You can't just go straight back into where you were, right? Like, so if I was bicycling for an hour every day and lifting weights 3 times a week and, going for a swim 2 or 3 times a week or whatever, and then I stopped for a month, I can't go back and do all that stuff, right? So now I think about it with, like, in terms of dialectical development. I'm like, okay, well, what will I do first? And what, and just like plan out the development and then test that theory out with practice. So if I'm like, okay, well, I'll start by running and see how I feel. And if I run and it's really super easy and I feel fine, maybe I'll add more on faster than I expected. Or if it's like really bogging me down and I feel really tired, maybe I'll slow down and run a little bit less, or try something. You know what I mean? You have to test your theory against reality and not get too frustrated when your theory doesn't pan out exactly as you expected. That's the nature of reality. That's the nature of our existence. You can't predict everything, and you can't make a plan. It's like we have all these, like, little expressions about like the best laid plans and all this kind of stuff, but it's like that's not such a big deal if you understand development. And I mean, read People's War, People's Army by Von Zapp, because he talks repeatedly about how they had plans and systems that weren't working out, you know, and then they had to like change and adjust things. And he was talking about how they would be like training on the battlefield, and they'd be like training soldiers with tactics. 1 week they'd have a battle and find out those tactics didn't work, and then immediately change the training that they were doing after that battle. You know, it's like they were having to constantly, and they were kind of like building an army from scratch. And Von Zapp wasn't even a professionally trained, you know, soldier. He was
just a history teacher.
Right. So he had to literally, it's like they say, building an airplane after it's already taken off, you know? But you can do that if you understand development. I firmly believe that that's what it allows us to get an edge over the ruling class, because the ruling class has, and I increasingly started to believe its own bullshit about the world.
Lots of people. I mean, lots of people keep asking me about what exactly to do. And I'm sorry, but I can't tell you exactly what to do because I'm not living in the same material condition with you, and only you know the material conditions where you're living in. And I only can tell you, you know, the basic principle. So you have to apply those principles into your actual material conditions. I'm not going to tell you what to do, and I can't do that. Incapable.
Yeah. No, nobody can. You have to, it's like Fred Hampton said, you have to go out there and make mistakes. If you make mistakes, then you're if you're making mistakes, you're in a good place, because it means you're doing shit.
Yeah.
If you're not making any mistakes, you know, that's a bad sign.
Zenita said that's why we need to resist against tailism, so as leader of the secondary contradictions, make it in the society as possible. Tailism. I want to talk a little bit about this too, because those people, when you talk about, as Gramsci said, we need to create a counter hegemony, you know, and this is a thing that is why me and EJ very opposed against tailism. This you know, debate bros and lots of AMPASOC, you know, right now.
American Patriot Socialism.
Yes. They try to gain their influence and, you know, lots of like followers by going with the flow, in the same like they will be attractive to the right wingers, you know, be attractive to those people, so they can they believe that in that way they can gain more power. That's exactly tailism, because instead of creating a counter hegemony, they follow what the society is being followed, and I mean, what do I say about this? It's annoying, and it's frustrating, and it's sad that they going in a super wrong way, and so many times, and so many people prove that
I think you should define what tailism is, because a lot of folks might not know what it is.
Tailism means that you go after society as a tail. That's why it's called tailism. And it means that whatever society, no matter how reactionary society is, you have to adopt that reactionary action, and then try to then, after you hope to be accepted in that reactionary society, and then you hope that in the future you can somehow sway them away from that to follow your path. But it's absolutely idealism. Absolutely. So for example, a bunch of AMPASOC, they trying to uphold the idea of the American flag, you know, and then try to be accepted and try to put
I think a more glaring example is the fact that they try to uphold George Washington as like some hero, the slave owning expansionary colonialist.
George Washington, Abraham Lincoln.
They call George Washington the Ho Chi Minh of the USA, which I find disgusting.
Oh, yes, I forgot about that. God damn it. So, yeah. The bad bros, they trying to be fluent, so in a way that they use bigotry, they use
Slurs.
misogyny, they use racism, slurs. So
And the
trying
argument
to
is
de-radicalize
they
Nazis.
have to act this way to attract the working class because that's how the working class talks and blah, 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 blah.
Yes.
So, like, it's important to understand that the capitalist class has done a lot. Like I was saying earlier, the capitalist class has developed the working class a lot. And that means that they've ingrained reactionary and divisive characteristics into the working class. Now, as revolutionists, we must love the working class. And we must, not see ourselves as like distinct and separate from the working class, right? I mean, we're all workers. We're trying to liberate the working class, right? But we have to understand that our fellow workers have been highly developed by capitalists, and they retain these negative characteristics that we need to try to negate. So we can't just follow along behind them. But we also cannot be commandists, and commandism is the opposite of tailism. Commandism is when you think you know best, and you just want to drag the working class behind you, kicking and screaming, and you think you know everything. That you don't think there's anything you can learn from the working class. You're only here to teach the working class. We have to avoid that as well. So the way I like to put it is we need to be like marching alongside the working class and understand the dialectical development between the revolution, the movement, and the working class. We have to be developing the working class, yes, but we also have to be developed by the working class in ways that enhance our revolutionary movement, right? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Mass line, as SCH Dow says. Yes, exactly. Mass line.
I'm so frustrated, what do we gotta do?
I mean, I saw some really disgusting. Can we talk about this for a second? I've literally only popped into Twitter it's been actually great. It's great. I've only seen Twitter for like 30 or 45 minutes total since coming to the USA. So it's about a month of almost no Twitter. But I did see that you did a thread about the Pledge of Allegiance. And all these reactionary quote unquote leftists were just worshiping the Pledge of Allegiance and pretending it's this big working class.
It's culture. It's a U.S. American culture.
Pledging allegiance to the flag of the United States of America is somehow productive for the communist revolution, is what they were trying to say. And they were being really vicious about it as well, and calling liberal all kinds of nasty names and stuff for saying and also they tried to make this really false. So this is another thing that people in the West don't get is they can't distinguish between essence and phenomena. And this is a massive problem. And I've had this problem as well myself, but they'll say because they took a screenshot from Let's Talk Vietnam, which was him talking about his experience in the pioneers. Luna, you want to talk about the pioneers? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Vaguely.
The Ho Chi Minh pioneers. The youth. It's like the young Communist Youth Union.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I know. Now I know.
Do you want to tell people what that is, or so I can?
I
don't really know. It's just like the Scouts, kind of, right? But
I was part of it. I joined it when in the primary school, and mostly it's just good student with a good performance in schools, and also be accepted in that. And we mostly learn, spread the five lessons that Ho Chi Minh taught kids, mostly một là yêu tổ quốc, yêu đồng bào, hai học rất là tốt. Means that you must love your motherland, you must love your people. You must join in the lao động, means in the labor, and also study well, học tập đoàn kết tốt, kỷ luật tốt, means you must unite with all groups of people, and you must have a good discipline, and you must be humble, truthful, and brave, and that's it.
Right. So Let's Talk Vietnam did a thread about that. And said that once a week they would have to say,
yes,
I support Ho Chi Minh's goal for socialism.
Chủ nghĩa vì lý tưởng của Bác Hồ vĩ đại sẵn sàng. Means that we just say this for the socialist motherland, for the great Ho Chi Minh taught, ready, and that's it.
Right. And it's specifically saying we want to build socialism.
For socialist motherland.
So
for
the
Ho Chi
essence
Minh
of
thought.
okay, the essence of what that okay, so what these AMPAT stocks are trying to do is build the case that
Yeah.
the Ho Chi Minh pioneer kids saying that once a week is equivalent, essentially equivalent to
Yes.
every American
I
student
saw
in
that
every
too.
single day standing up and pledging allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. I find those to be essentially like in terms of phenomena, right? In terms of like what we can see and witness and experience and everything, yes, they seem very similar because they both involve kids reciting something, right? So there
Yes.
is a similar phenomena,
Yeah.
but the essence is so different between every
Yes.
single child in the USA having to pledge allegiance to a bourgeois state's flag
Yes.
and
Every
members of an
single day. At least we
explicitly
do it like just once a week.
well,
One
yeah,
sentence.
but that's phenomena. I think essentially though,
Uh,
there's a difference between like kids being forced to pledge allegiance to a bourgeois state's flag and kids, pledging that they want to support building socialism.
yes.
They're like, you're not pledging allegiance to the Vietnam state. You're not
No.
pledging allegiance to the flag. You're saying,
No.
I will help build socialism. Can you recite it one more time, Luna? Oh,
For the
I'll do
socialist.
wait. I'll do the American Pledge of Allegiance first. Okay, so because not everyone's from the USA watching this, of course.
Hmm.
I don't want to be too. So I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Definitely pledging allegiance to the bourgeois state. Okay, all right, Luna. What is the Vietnamese thing?
For the
The
socialist
pioneers.
for the socialist motherland, for the great Ho Chi Minh thought. Ready.
Okay. To me, there might be some similar phenomena there, but essentially, it's much different. Tell me what you think in the chat. Am I wrong? I just don't see the parallel. Like I think it's a sophistry thing where they're saying like, oh look, it's exactly the same thing. And it's like they're not. Tell me if I'm wrong. I mean, maybe you can agree or disagree with whether you think that the Ho Chi Minh Communist pioneers should exist and whether or not they should be saying that. But to try to say that what they're saying once a week is the same as what we were doing every single day, the pledge sounds so cultish. I mean, you're pledging allegiance to a flag. What do you do, Luna, in Vietnam with the flag? You said once a week.
Once a week, the teacher on the stage say, "Everybody stand up," and then the whole school stand up, and the teacher say hello to the flag. Hello. Done.
Say hello to the flag. See, that's so much more wholesome. I mean, I gotta say, I'm not. It's like it's distinct from pledging allegiance to the flag. I'm sorry. I'm not even saying. I mean, like, it's not the same thing.
So here's the thing. This is exactly we did once a week, every Monday morning. Everybody stand up, say hello to the flag. Hello. Okay, down.
Right.
And now national anthem, and then national anthem, and then for the socialist motherland, for the great thought of Ho Chi Minh, ready.
And they teach those kids in school, right? Luna, tell me if I'm wrong. Again, tell me if I'm wrong. They teach you in school that the ambition of socialism and communism is to eventually get rid of that flag and dissolve national borders.
Yes.
Right? So that's a huge difference between the USA, which is like the USA will like live in glory forever and we will always pledge allegiance to that state, versus the Vietnamese who are teaching their kids, one day we hope that we can fold the flag up and put it in a museum and we'll never have to raise it again because we'll have communism and there won't be any national distinctions anymore. It's like a totally different, it's like, and that's the other thing is like the whole idea of development being taught to kids that like, yeah, right now we have this country, it's called Vietnam, but we hope that one day we can negate the need for it. You know what I mean? Like it's a different animal. And I could say that like, whether you agree with it or not, again, you don't have to think that Vietnam has the proper best way forward or whatever. You don't have to agree with the Vietnam path to socialism, but to say that they are essentially the same as the what the USA's got going on with the way we indoctrinate kids is, to me, it's just silly. It's like it's disingenuous.
Like Yang here, like what does God do in this blast of allegiance? Like what?
Well, they added that during the civil rights movement because they wanted to like, I can't remember the exact story, but they added that basically because they wanted to distract people from the fact that black people were trying to get equal rights. So
luckily we don't put any religion into our like for the socialist motherland. That's just it.
I don't know, man. Anyway, I guess I had everything. I guess I said everything I really kind of wanted to say tonight.
I think so too.
I've had this stuff this stuff's just been bothering me so much. What's the American doing in America? Oh, somebody asked me earlier why I'm in the dark. I'm in the dark because there's no light out here. I have every light on.
And very really simple answer. It just says
I'm visiting
no
my parents. Yeah, I'm visiting my parents. It's not the most ideal place to be recording. In God we trust, and under God was to indoctrinate against the godless communist America. Menace.
Menace.
Godless communist menace. Yeah. Anyway.
What's wrong with being godless? What's wrong with being godless?
I shouldn't have to pledge allegiance to a flag. That's all I'm saying.
Like, I would understand it a little bit more if you pledge allegiance to the concept of America or something, to your motherland, but to the flag, it's just a piece of fabric.
Well, I mean, the flag, it's okay. It's like bad on two levels, right? On one level, it's like veneration of this symbol, right? And you know, that can be, you know, I speaking as an anarcho-communist, I do think that can very quickly lead to all kinds of like that's a fast track way to indoctrinate people. But also, I mean, really what it's doing is you're actually pledging allegiance to the state that the flag represents, right? Here's the thing. Americans, this is a big contradiction in the USA ideology, right? Because we think that like, oh, North Korea is so weird. Those weird North Koreans, the way that they worship Kim Jong-un and they worship the state, blah, blah, blah. But we're doing the same thing. But it's like if the pledge actually, like the pledge has doctrinal language embedded in it, right? Because we don't pledge allegiance to the state. We pledge allegiance to the flag. But really, 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 really what we're doing is we're pledging allegiance to the state. Because we even say it. It's like a softer way of saying it. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands. And if you boil that down, what you're saying is I pledge allegiance to the state. That's what you're saying. You're saying not to my fellow Americans, not to my homeland, not to anything. I pledge allegiance to the state, to the flag, and to the republic. The republic equals the state.
To the bourgeois state.
Yes.
I'm sorry, this brainwashed Vietnamese. I did not pledge allegiance to the state of Vietnam.
It's wild to me that you have these American patriot socialists who are saying that pledging allegiance to the bourgeois state is a good thing for communists and that we should encourage that in the working class. Like, that's just like so wild to me. I can't believe people take these people seriously. It's so wild.
We didn't pledge any allegiance to the state of Vietnam. No way.
So anyway,
this brainwash.
I mean, it's shocking to me that you didn't, Luna, and I'm actually, like, to be honest with you, I kind of can't believe it.
We don't believe.
No, I mean, like, I'm being serious right now. I'm skeptical. Like, I can't help it because, like, it was such a part of my upbringing to like worship the state through all these different mechanisms that it's hard for me to believe you when you say you didn't have to do it.
If I say that in Vietnamese will look at me like I'm an alien or something like.
Okay, all right. Let's play a little game real quick. I think this will be fun. So,
okay,
just real quickly, try to translate this line to Vietnamese. Okay, I pledge allegiance to the Republic of the United States of America. Say that in Vietnamese.
Tôi quyết tâm thề trung thành với nền Cộng hòa.
All right. Now replace
Republican with what? I forgot the
Republic of the USA.
Oh, then tôi quyết thề trung thành với nền Cộng hòa của nước Mỹ.
Okay. Now replace Republic of the United States of America with Socialist Republic of Vietnam. So say I pledge allegiance to the Socialist Republic of Vietnam, and then tell me how that feels, or like how does that sound to you?
Tôi thề trung thành với nền quốc gia đất nước xã hội chủ nghĩa Việt Nam. It's weird. Thề trung
Do you
thành
think any Vietnamese person would ever say that?
Not even our military.
Really? I was going to ask about that. Would the military not say that? What do they say? Do you know?
I work with military guys many times, and they mostly play national anthem.
Uh-huh.
I never heard of any pledge of allegiance of military in Vietnam.
To the state.
Ever. To the state. No. Never,
I don't know.
ever. We
I'm just
mostly
curious.
use the Ho Chi Minh quote. Let's see. Let me look for it. Just keep talking about that. Give me a minute. I try Google search real quick.
I think that if we said exactly if we said it like plainly, if we stood up and said like for instance, I think if Americans heard like, I don't know, Canadian people say, I pledge allegiance to the state of Canada, it would sound creepy to us. But they soften it with all this flowery language. And with the flag, which is a very emotional symbol, right? So like, you know, it kind of like I don't know, like it like bypasses a lot of the circuitry where we would usually be resistant to that kind of thing and call it like, oh, state worship, and it's like North Korea, but they are able to bypass that with this emotional symbol. So, okay, I don't pledge allegiance to the state. I pledge allegiance to the flag and to the republic for which it stands.
Okay, I got it. I got the what did you call it? The slogan of the military of Vietnam.
Uh-huh.
Our military must be loyal to the Communist Party, pious to the people, always ready to fight and sacrifice for the self-determination and freedom of the motherland, for the socialism. We must go do all the mission, finish all the mission, and overcome all the obstacles and win against all enemies.
Right. I think the part that people would bristle at in the West would be the part where you're pledge loyalty to the Communist Party, just to be honest.
Yes.
But even that's not the same as pledging allegiance to the state.
Yes.
It's still an essential difference because I mean, whether you whether you think it's a good thing or not, at least it's like, at least on paper, it's explicitly saying that the idea is that we're going to build socialism, right? Versus pledging allegiance to this bourgeois capitalist state.
Do you have
you
any
could say that both are bad, but they're not the same. Say what?
Military slogan USA?
Oh, there's a bunch of them. I mean, there's a lot of them. It depends on the branch, I think. But there is this one thing called I don't remember. There's this one thing that's called like the watch. People in the chat probably know a lot more about this than I do. But I mean, I think they also just I don't know. I really don't know much about that.
This
I grew up in a
will
military
defend,
family.
right? This we will defend.
This we will defend. I don't know. That sounds like a Game of Thrones thing to me, but I grew up in a military family, but I never saw my dad say like an oath.
The U.S. military has to stand up, put their hand over their heart before they watch Marvel movies in theaters.
I pledge allegiance to Disney.
Captain America.
Silver Spook's in the house. Everybody subscribe to Silver Spook. Fantastic Indigenous Hawaiian comrade. So, I mean, you know, it's like...
Here. This is Canadian version. I pledge true allegiance to Queen Elizabeth II, Queen in right of Canada, and her legitimate heirs and successors.
No way. No, you don't. You have to pledge true allegiance to the Queen in Canada?
Yes. People say that too.
Oh, wow. I mean, that might be worse than the flag. That's pretty cringe. That makes me sad for Canada.
Who is more brainwashed, Canadians or Americans?
I gotta say probably Americans, but I haven't spent much time in Canada, so maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
I salute the flag, the emblem of my country. To her, I bless my love and loyalty.
Oh my God. But see, you see how they disguise, they make it. I don't know, man. Anyway, that was kind of a diversion, but I thought it was worth talking about because Essence and phenomenon. Essence and phenomenon. People can't tell the difference between essence and phenomenon. It's an easy way to trick people, by the way. If you want to be a sophist, sophistry 101, just confuse essence and phenomenon. It's an easy way to muddy the waters and derail conversations and obfuscate truth. Because I could just be like, I could be like, in the USA, well, yeah, they do it all the time. They do it with everything. Like, it's like people say, like, there's fireflies out there. Aw. I just got totally distracted by the beautiful fireflies out there.
I can forgive you with that.
Oh, it's like they call, I don't want to get...
Canadian oath of citizenship. This is of the full thing.
Uh-huh.
I swear or affirm that I will be faithful and bear the true allegiance to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, Queen of Canada, her heirs and successors, and that I will faithfully observe the laws of Canada, including the Constitution, which recognizes and affirms the Aboriginal and treaty rights of First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people, and somehow what? Long.
What? Can you put it back up?
Yeah, I will share the screen for you. It's so long. I haven't finished it yet.
You have it on the screen?
Yeah. Canada Plus of Allergen. I mean, I'm just curious, It's super freaking long.
Oh, man. Yeah, I'm not reading that.
I'm not reading that.
Good luck, Canadians.
How can you remember all of this? And fulfill my duties as a Canadian citizen.
Hey, Luna, I just realized something. I just came up with a good model for teaching people essence versus phenomenon. You know the meme where it's like, Mom, I want X. And then Mom's like, we have X at home. And then it's like the X you have at home. Do you know what I'm talking about? Can you find an example of that meme while you have your browser pulled up?
Okay. What should I type?
We have at home meme. We have at home meme. Is there anything popping up?
Yeah.
Any good ones?
Mom, can we stop at McDonald's? Mom, we have a food at home, and this is food at home.
Wait, what is that?
And a boiled egg inside toast.
Okay, so I guess in a sense, show me some more.
Yeah, food at home. Yeah. Mom, can we get McDonald's? We have a food at home.
Why are they all about McDonald's?
Yeah, right?
Can you show me a non-McDonald's version of this meme? I'm not vibing with the McDonald's version.
Yeah.
Because I feel like a boiled egg on toast really is essentially the same as a McDonald's. I mean, it's essentially crap food.
Mom, can we get fast food?
Find a non-food one. I've never seen the food one, and now all the ones that you see are food. Scroll down. No. Scroll down in the main window.
Okay.
Over there. This is backfiring. Why are these all fast food related? Find one that's not fast food related.
Mom, I want Gucci.
There you go. That's a good... Okay. See? There is an essential difference between... Not that I really want to advocate Gucci too hard, but there is an essential difference. Hopefully people get what we're trying to say here. Luna, you've got the worst algorithm or something. These versions of this game are terrible. Yeah, I have the worst. None of these are good.
Yes.
We'll have to workshop this idea.
My algorithm is not being heavily indoctrinated by the USA, so that's why it's this thing.
I don't know.
It's kind of confused, The algorithm is kind of confused with me because I never searched of this, and it just showed me the weirdest.
Well, the most corporate ones. I think it's just advertising Gucci and McDonald's to you. Anyway, hopefully y'all get the point. The Minecraft one is okay, somebody said. Vedran said. Well, anyway.
Anyway.
The point of that meme is that the phenomenon is the same. They have similar phenomena, but essentially they are different.
It's so different. They both food, but
well, no, that's a terrible example because I do think that crappy food is crappy food essentially. But anyway, bad example. I'll find a better one for the next time we talk about this. All right. Well, I'm very tired, Luna.
Me too. I need to get ready for the death anniversary of my grandpa.
Oh. What do you say to somebody on that day? Teach me.
We don't say anything.
You don't have like a way to... Really? If you're talking to your friend and your friend says, hey, I have to go to today's my grandpa's death anniversary, you would just say nothing to your friend?
We just say, oh, that's
No, Luna, I'm saying you're misunderstanding me. You just told me that today is your grandfather's death anniversary. What should I say back to you to like show respect?
You don't need to say anything.
So if you're talking to your friend and you said to your friend, hey, Fung, today is my grandfather's death anniversary, she would just sit there in silence and stare at you silently?
Yeah, she just nod her head mostly because I did tell my friend in Hanoi that hey, this weekend I'm gonna go back home for my grandma's death anniversary.
It's different if it's today though. If it's like, hey, today is like you don't say anything, nothing.
No.
You don't say like, oh, I don't know. I'm sorry to hear that your grandfather passed away. Nothing like that. Usually
you would ask like, how many years already? When did he die?
Okay, that's a normal human thing to say to somebody. Yes. Okay. Jeez. You are not the best. You should not teach Vietnamese, Luna.
I never met that grandpa.
I just imagine like someone telling Luna that, oh, it's my 1-year death anniversary of my grandmother dying, and Luna just staring at them. Cold.
Oh. Cold heart. I have a cold heart.
No, I could see being like, oh, how long ago did your grandfather? That's a more normal. Okay, that makes sense. Okay. Thanks for that wonderful Vietnamese lesson. All right, well, that was a great upbeat.
And that is the communist grandpa. That is the communist soldier grandpa.
Oh, wow. Well, hey, everybody. Let's all pay respects to Luna's grandfather who died during the Tet Offensive fighting for the freedom of Vietnam.
Oh, by the way, the government took care of my grandma really well. That after he died, every month the government sent some money to her, enough for her to live in the village. And also even after she died, when she died, the government gave her some money for the funeral too. Wow. So it's really good. Yeah.
Don't they have a whole department of like war orphans and widows? Yeah. Well, I do in all sincerity, all joking aside, much respect to your grandfather and his memory, and I hope that Vietnam continues to build socialism and that his ambition of a stateless, classless society is one day fulfilled by following generations.
Yeah, hopefully. So. David asked, like, are you happy with the anti-corruption campaign going on? Yeah, you know what's going on in Vietnam. He says you don't know. It is insane.
You told me a little bit.
Insane. Every single morning, hear news about this minister of medical went to jail. The old chairman of Hanoi went to jail. The new guy took the chair and now he's in jail too.
Wow. So, like, you said that they're calling it the furnace or something?
Yes.
What's that?
And we call those corrupted members of firewood. And then we call the the anti-corruption campaign is the furnace, and the Communist Party is like the burner, the chef, the cookers. So like, and then I saw new news about this chairman of Hanoi now in jail and under investigation. Like, oh, the furnace is hot again.
What are they doing to them? Are they going to prison or what's happening? I mean,
absolutely, they got like eliminated. their membership of the Communist Party was eliminated, and then they got released from their position in the government, and now they're in jail under investigation.
Some of them just get like but some of this goes back a long time, right?
Yeah, years ago.
Wow. Yeah, could you imagine like an American politician that's like retired? I've never heard of anything like that. I'm sure it must have happened at some point. So you could probably go cherry pick examples, but like I've never heard of an American politician from like 20 years ago getting, called back up and, indicted or something like that for corruption. Have you ever heard of that?
That's the normal thing in Vietnam. Yesterday, the guy who was the minister of the Ministry of Health in Vietnam resigned. He resigned, and for like of the too stressful, because he had a bad performance the last few years, and everybody was like, "Don't worry, you're gonna be in jail very soon. Don't even think that after you resign, you're safe land." We call it like a safe landing. There's no safe landing in Vietnam, except maybe you died. There's except like the death. Only the death can save you.
Oh, the Vietnamese are very dark.
There's no
Dark
safe landing. You resigned, or you quit, or you retire, you're gonna go to jail no matter what.
Well, I'm all for rooting out corruption, and I hope that I hope it's I don't know. I hope it works. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know anything. I don't know enough about it, so I really can't say anything intelligent right now.
Yeah.
But corruption in the socialist society is not good. That's my.
This is the argument coming from the three stripes. He said like, "Oh, look at Vietnam, how corrupted socialism Vietnam." So people like, okay, so when we arrest corrupted members, it's also a bad thing now, right? It means that we corrupt. Like they say, no matter if we don't arrest anything, it's just so corrupted. But if we arrest somebody, it's like, oh, so Vietnam is so corrupted. Like,
Luna, people are saying really nice things about your grandpa in the chat. Just let me know. Star Fox said, "May his memory live on." A lot of people are saying, "Rest in power."
Aww. Thank you. It's a sad thing that I never seen his face, and we don't have any picture of him. We were too poor to have any picture.
Do people say that anybody in your family looks like him?
My father.
Oh, really? They say your father looks like him? Interesting. Well, I mean, we'll go get ready for all that. That sounds important. I will go sleep. So,
bye.
Have a good night, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.